Thanks for tuning in to the Charles Novell School of Music podcast, The Best Day Yet. Here you'll find tips, insight, and information to help your music and your ministry succeed. Whether you're a singer, a musician, or a songwriter, we want to help you where you are, but we also want to help you get to where you want to go. We believe that our talents are God's gift to us, but what we do with those are our gift back to God. Yesterday's information is important, but what we can learn today will make this the best day yet. Hello, Rob Novell here with the CNS podcast, The Best Day Yet. Hope this finds all well with you today. Man, we are closing in on the end of March. Hard to believe, man, time just... I remember growing up, they said, time flies when you get old. Well, apparently I'm old because time is just flying by. But hey, just super excited again. We've had another busy week of registrations coming in. Just got off the phone with a brand new student that registered this evening. That's going to be with us for CNS 23 and just want to keeping it in front of you. Listen, CNS is an amazing opportunity for you to learn, grow, and develop the gifts and the skills and the talents that God's given you. We like to say it this way. I believe that our skills and our talents are God's gift to us, but what we do with them, that's our gift back to God. So at CNS, it gives you a chance to be the best that you can be. Basically and literally take your music and your ministry to the next level. Again, the phone call that I just had was just sharing about the school. They had some questions. I love questions because I love to brag on CNS and give them the rundown of what truly goes on at CNS. And yes, we're a school of music, but we are so much more. You're going to learn musically during the week, networking, connections. You're going to meet people. One of the aspects about CNS that we really don't even advertise is the community, the networking. You're going to be at a place with like-minded people for the entire week. And we've seen this just organically happen. This person's from this state, this student's from another state, and they end up connecting and doing things together in ministry. Maybe they bring one student to their area for a concert, and then that gets reciprocated and paid back on the other side. And so the networking is there. But man, one of the things that excites me the most is it's literally like a spiritual revival. It's like camp meeting for the week. We start each day with chapel or devotions, and man, God moves, and that spirit, we set the tone for the day with that. That carries on through the day. In the evening, we have evening concerts that literally turn into church services. We have no agenda. The only agenda we have is allowing the Holy Spirit to do whatever he chooses to do during the week. So if you are on the fence, man, I'd love to hear from you. You can reach me off our website at www.cnsmusic.com. There are plenty of options there to contact us. I will respond and get with you. If you've got any questions, I'd love to talk to you about you being part of CNS 23, July 16th through the 22nd at Murray State University in Murray, Kentucky. Okay, let's get into our topic for today. And we're talking songwriting today, and we've not discussed songwriting a lot on the podcast. This one is totally dedicated to songwriting today. And whether you're a beginning songwriter, you've been doing this for a little bit or a very long time, or you've never written, I believe there's information here today that will encourage you. My dad was really big on, we teach songwriting at the school. You can take it as a private lesson, but we have an hour songwriting class each day of the week. And we have had some amazing songwriters a part of the session each year. And Dad felt so strong in it. He felt like everybody should be a songwriter. some of the best songs are written out of personal experience, and you can't expect someone else to share your story potentially like you can share your story. And I like to look at it this way: our tests bring forth our testimony, and man, sometimes our mess, you all, can bring forth His message. And I was asked today in a certain situation, something that I do here in Atlanta. I was asked about my involvement, and if people knew my testimony, and my response was absolutely yes, because I love bragging on the goodness of God. I love bragging on what God has done in Rob's life. So, man, we believe in songwriting to the point that we think every one of our students should and could potentially become a songwriter. So, songwriting literally is an art. There's no way to know if you're getting it right or wrong, and there's no one who can say for sure whether the end product is, really, really good or really, really, really bad. It's literally all in the eyes and the ears of the beholder, as well as the artist that is actually behind the song. We've said this before. It all starts with the song, you all. Certain artists are looking for certain things when they are recording a new project, and they may need one final song on their project dealing, let's just say, with grace. And man, your story that you pen because of God's grace and goodness on your life may be what connects to that artist and allows them to deliver that song in such a way that it encourages the Christians. But what we're fishing for in writing these songs is someone surrendering their life to God. You write that song about grace out of your experience and what God brought you through, and you may be responsible for someone surrendering their life and their hearts over to the Lord, and begin a discipleship walk with Him because of something that you write. So there's really no roadmap to or perfect steps that you can take to make sure that you get it just right. This is one of those things. Sometimes we learn rules, so what? We can break the rules. If I get pulled over out here in Atlanta on 285 for going 90 miles an hour, which is impossible because there's too much traffic to be going that fast. But if I was to get pulled over and the highway patrolman came up to the car and said, "You know why I pulled you over?" And I'm like, "No, why?" He said, "You were doing 90 and a 55. If I had never been to driver's ed to learn the rules about driving, I would have no clue that I was breaking the rules. So, but let's be honest, let's be transparent. Not 90 down 285, but if it's 55, I'm probably doing 65 or 70 at times if the traffic will allow me to do that. So there are times that we learn the rules, to break the rules. So that's kind of where we're going to be with this whole subject of songwriting. There, we can talk structure, we can talk form, we can talk about certain things, but a lot of times, and we can throw that totally out the window. But we've got to learn the rules first in order to break them. So we're going to talk some tips. We're going to talk some suggestions and some maybe strategies that you could take to, number one, begin your songwriting. Number two, continue to perfect your songwriting. And if you're a seasoned writer, I think some of this may even just open up your thought process today as well. So we're going to start here. How do beginners start this process of songwriting? That's a simple question, but unfortunately the answer is very, very vague. Here's your answer. How do beginners start songwriting? You simply start. That's earth ending right there, right? The world just quit turning. Did you feel that? That was so profound that the earth quit spinning on its axis. No, absolutely. It was very, very deep. You have to start. I like to say it this way. The only bad song that you'll ever write is the one that you don't write. So if you haven't started, you've got to start. You've got to start somewhere. You can read all the songwriting books and Google this and attend all the songwriting camps and workshops and boot camps that you can find. You can listen to the best songwriters out there talk about their process and how they do this. But nothing's ever going to get written. You're not going to write that first song until you sit down and you actually begin. So here are some tips for beginners if you want to start songwriting. Number one, read. Check out articles and books. I know I just kind of poked fun at that, but listen, the internet is full of information, you all. I teach in the Atlanta area. My students, I'll come in the room and the student will be playing something and I'll be like, where'd you learn that? And they'll tell me YouTube. They see these tutorial videos and they learn how to do things. Learning is literally at our fingertips these days. I've told my students, that when I was growing up, for me to study for a book report or something that I was doing in school, I'd have to go to the library. And before we could even get to the library, we had to arrange a ride to the library. Nowadays, there's none of that. You have a topic, you pick your phone up, you type it in, answers are right there. So check out articles and order books, read things from music industry professionals and well-known musicians who have years of experience with songwriting. That's the key thing. We hear that all the time. Experience is the best teacher. Absolutely, yes. Number one, in your personal life, your personal music in this area of songwriting, again, you're never going to write that first song until you start writing. Through trial and error and experience is how we all become better at what we do. Number two, listen and watch. There are interviews, there are podcasts out there that deals just solely with songwriting. I love listening to podcasts. I do a lot of traveling and driving, and in doing so, I love to listen to podcasts. And there are several that I listen to that deal with songwriting a lot. So literally go into wherever it is that you listen to your podcast, be it Apple or Spotify or iHeartRadio. Any of these platforms, there is a search feature where you can type in songwriting, see what comes up, listen and watch and learn from different people. Sometimes you can learn by a bad idea or a bad example. What do I mean by that? Well, in certain areas, I've seen how not to do something enough that if I just do it the opposite, I might succeed in that area. So you're going to get good information from listening to these podcasts that are going to help you with your writing, but also they're going to share those situations and stories of maybe something that didn't work that will click for you as well. As you listen through these, you're going to hear different approach on things. You're going to hear people contradict themselves, or maybe not themselves, but you're going to hear one person give you a tip or suggestion, and then you're going to hear someone else explain why that won't work. What works is what works for you. So sometimes getting enough information, you can decide and lock in on what you think may be best for you. Number three, brainstorm. Come up with some topics that you'd like to write about. And this can be huge. In the Christian world, again, we mentioned grace earlier. We've all experienced God's grace. In fact, the word says his mercies are new every day. So we literally could write a new song about grace every day because that's how much he loves us, that he's willing to give us whatever we need in the area of grace on a daily basis. So it could be anything from grace to healing to relational, so many different areas and topics that you could write about. So brainstorm, come up with some topics you'd like to write about. Nothing is off limits with songwriting. What I like to tell people with creatives, when we're dealing with creativity, again, The only the only wrong thing is what you don't set out to do. There's at this stage of things, if you are a beginner, there's nothing that you're going to write that is wrong. Now, we may need to go in and tweak and adjust some things that you write, but if you're sharing words from your heart at this stage of things, that's exactly what you need to be doing. Number 4, jot down ideas. I have a little spiral bound notebook in the pocket on the door of my car, and it's there for one purpose. As I'm driving, different things speak to me. I'm an observant person. When I'm driving, I'm watching the road, but I'm seeing everything going on around me. And billboards, bumper stickers on cars, sales posters in the window of a store that I look over at a red light and see. You never know when an idea or inspiration may hit. So having something handy where you can jot these ideas down. I also use my phone. I've got in the notes section of my phone, I've got all kinds of ideas that when I get a chance to sit down and write, I look back and review back through these ideas and see where they may go. So jot things down, be it old school pen and paper or putting them in the notes section of your phone, or even making voice memos off of your phone. Put it all together. Once you have some phrases or lines that are all about the same topic or theme, then try putting them together in different order to see how that works. A lot of times when I start writing, I'll write a line and then the next line and then the next line. And before I'm done, line 4 may end up getting moved up to line 1. So I do believe the old school pen and paper can be one of the most effective ways in writing because it keeps everything right there in front of you. And I've got notebooks. I've got 3 notebooks, spiral bound notebooks that are for my personal songwriting. And one is just a notebook full of thoughts and ideas. The second one are songs that I'm currently working on. And the third one is a notebook of songs that I think are done. I don't know that I've ever put one in there once and not revisited and tweaked or adjusted it before it 100% was finished. But I have 3 different notebooks that I write all this stuff down. And so putting it all together, sometimes I'm pulling ideas from all three areas. The next point here, a lot of times, and songwriting can be approached so many different ways. I've heard people say I do my lyrics first, and then I've heard other people say, no, I start with the melody, I get a tune in my head, and then I put lyrics to it. However you want to slice and dice it, it will work. Again, there's no right or wrong way to approach this. You need to approach this in the comfortable way for you. But kind of the next point here is, do the lyrics, by the time you get to a point of having lyrics and melody, do the lyrics and the melody match each other? Does the tempo that you're singing this at match the mood of your lyrics? What do I mean by that? Well, this has happened, so don't anybody research this and call me out. But let's think. If you're going to do a sad song would be more of a slower tempo, where faster tempos are more happy sounding songs. It could be a little weird if your melody line is very rhythmic and needs to be done up tempo if your lyrics are dealing, with pain and suffering. So sometimes you need to make sure that the pieces actually fit together. So there's some basic tips that can get you started. So let's move on. What are some of the important parts of songwriting? So here are some of the most important things and aspects I think that involve in this area of songwriting. Number 1, melody. I think it's really important that you have a tune that is memorable. What do I mean by that? Well, something that's going to get stuck in someone's head, something that is very singable and will stick with them. So in my teaching here in Atlanta, It never fails. There will be. I taught 11 students today, and in a row, 11 in a row, and it never fails. There's going to be one of those half-hour lessons that a student will be working on a song, and they leave, and I catch myself, singing or humming that, singing it in my head, and I'll move into the next lesson. And even though they're playing different songs, I'm still, why? Because that melody was catchy. It was something that was easy to remember. So don't overwrite your melodies. Keep them very simple. Keep them very singable. The second aspect here is chords. In this area of beginning your writing, you may not be well versed in what chords are and how to put chords together. And you don't need to understand chords immediately, but if you want to progress and move forward with your songwriting, getting a good knowledge of chords. And what does this deal with? Music theory. We've had podcasts on this. We have classes of music theory at CNS. Why? Because it's that important. So many times, probably the norm is I talk to a songwriter and they're like, you know what? I'm really good with lyrics, but music. I can't do music. And I get that. I totally understand that. But we want to help you remove the limitations and excuses on your music. And so last year at CNS 22, we started this for the first time. We had a beginning guitar class. And we had 37, I believe, students part of this class. There was an hour class each day of the week, so 5 hours by the end of the week. Most of these students that showed up for this class knew nothing at the beginning of the week. And by the end of the week, we had them playing basic primary chords in a couple different keys. Man, that's enough for you in this area of songwriting. We're going to do the same thing again with that guitar class this year. We're also going to start a beginning piano class. Set up the same way we did the guitar class. You can come in not knowing anything. By the end of the week, I promise you'll be playing basic chords and have a good understanding of chords, which can greatly, greatly help you in this area of your songwriting. Now, so in the meantime, yes, if you're good with lyrics and not with music, find someone that is. Get with someone at your church. You may have a friend that's a musician. Get with someone and kind of collaborate. You can do the lyrics, they can do the music. I do songwriter demos for songwriters, and a lot of times I get the opportunity and the privilege to help someone put music to their lyrics. And so there are people like myself. I'd be willing to help you with that if you need help with that. Find a musician that can help you get your songs to where that they need to go. Lyrics, the lyrics are important because those are the words that you hope everyone someday is singing, throughout the course of the day. Sections of songs. Every song has different parts or sections to it. You'll want to, study and read up on what these sections are. We have verses, we have choruses, we have pre-choruses, we have bridges, we have tags, we have intros, turnarounds, outros. We have all these different sections of a song. If you get a decent understanding of those, it can help you in this area of writing. The last one here, theme. What's the song about? It can be, about anything. We've talked several different topics today. So kind of going through these again. Some of the important aspects of writing is melody, chords, lyrics, sections of the song, and then the theme of the song. All right, so moving on, how do you get better at songwriting? So you're listening today, you're like, man, I'm not a beginner, but thanks for that. I'm waiting for this. Okay, how do you get better at songwriting? You know what? Just like anything in life, the more you get out of this is the more that you put into it. Songwriting is something that requires as much practice as singing or playing an instrument. Let me say that again for those that just say, no, I had someone once, I was talking to them about the school and we started talking about songwriting. They were a songwriter and they're like, what do you mean you teach songwriting? You can't teach songwriting. I'm like, why can't you teach songwriting? And they're like, because it has to be divinely inspired of God. Okay, I 100% understand that, but I believe in, and here's my transparent stance on this. If I'm walking my relationship with the Lord where I need to be walking my relationship with the Lord, there are going to be days that I'm going to hear him clearly speak to me. There are going to be other days that Rob's in the way and needs to get out of the way because God's trying to show me something. Man, I want to walk my walk in such a way that that inspiration can come at any moment. That I want to walk in a discernment that I'm listening for God's voice. So yeah, inspiration and that God moment of speaking to you is real and true and does happen. But I do believe that the best way to approach getting better at songwriting is you just got to keep doing this. You got to practice this. One of the best songwriters I've ever met, any genre of music, Phil Cross, Champion of Love. I mean, I could go on and on. So many great songs, but he came to the school one year and taught a songwriting seminar, and I'll never forget this. I happened to be able to set in on that day. I was teaching, but yet I wanted to hear what Phil had to say to our students that day. So I set in on it, and man, I left so encouraged and motivated and uplifted in this area of writing. And right off the bat, he talked about some of the most important tools that you needed to have if you were a songwriter. His first one was an eraser, a pencil, paper, the eraser, and a bunch of paper and a wastebasket. And his point was, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to write something that needs to be erased. You're going to write something that's really bad, and you're going to wad it up and want to throw it into that wastebasket. So the whole gist of that was he was saying this is something, yes, you have to work on. You definitely have to keep writing. You just have to. The second thing, share your work. I like to bounce songs that I write off of different people and get their feedback. You know what? Here's the thing with songwriters. Songwriters, I believe, have the toughest skin in this business of anybody because you're going to be constantly dealing with rejection, with no, and you've got to be able to bounce back from some of those moments. So you've got to be open to take constructive criticism from people. Share your music with people that you think truly can speak into you and help you perfect what you do. Number 3, continue learning, continue studying. I believe this way. I don't think we ever get to the point where we know it all. My prayer every morning is, Lord, let me learn something new today in the area of my music that can make me more effective for you in my ministry. So keep learning, read, listen, watch more and more. Listen to those experts, hear what they're doing, hear their tips, see how they're succeeding in songwriting to help you succeed in songwriting. The next one, listen, keep playing music. You know what? I love listening to music from this aspect. I'm listening for ideas. I'm listening for different things that I can, through this song that I'm listening to, different things that I can do. My dad called it this way. He called it the Robin Hood approach. What was the whole premise of Robin Hood? You steal from the rich and give to the poor. So Dad was saying, man, I'll listen to these successful artists because they are a lot better at what they do than I am. I can glean and learn and pull ideas from what they do. So keep listening, keep playing music. Now that you're a songwriter, you know, and not just a fan maybe of the music, think how you could critically listen to something. Once you begin this journey of songwriting, your listening to music is going to change. Once you deepen your theory knowledge of music, how you listen to music is going to change. Listen to music. Did that melody line that they do, did it stick in your head? Why did they pick, maybe that certain word over another? What made someone choose one way of expressing an idea over another? As you listen to music and you're asking yourself these questions, this is absolutely how you learn and get better at what you do. So just a few short little things in our time today that I hope can help you either begin this journey of songwriting or help you perfect the craft of songwriting that you're currently involved in. And I believe if you take these things to heart and really hope or really study and pray about things, that this information can help make this your best day yet. You all be blessed. We'll talk soon. Thanks for listening to the Charles Novell School of Music podcast, The Best Day Yet. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter under the name the Charles Novell School of Music. And for more information on CNS and our upcoming events, like our online school, our weekend regional sessions, our creative coaching, and our pastor's retreat, you can visit us at our website at www.cnsmusic.com. As you've listened to this episode, we hope that you've gained some information that you can apply to your music and to your ministry to make today the best day yet.